Well, my purpose word is illuminate. And I've actually had that purpose word now for probably about 15 years. So it was my original purpose word. And it's twofold. So the first reason I have it is because I firmly believe that it's important to help others see the way. And when I say that, it means that when you're working with someone and sharing your ideas, it's not about pushing your ideas onto them. It's about showing them a new possibility and then letting them kind of see that kind of spark come from within when they see the way as well. So that's one way I like it. It's a bit more of my personality and how I like to share information. And the second part of it is when we're actually working with our clients, when I think about my physical role or my actual role in the projects, is I'm there to help them see the way. And sometimes it's about kind of shining a light on things that they perhaps didn't see themselves and just helping that knowledge and that kind of path forward uncover as we're working together. So I've always had that word illuminate, and I think that it actually fits both my role and my reason for being. You know, one thing that would be really impossible for me to give up is the idea of learning. So there is something about me at my core that I've always been driven to learn new information all the time. And no one's like kind of beating me over the head or holding my nose in a book, but I've always been driven to learn. And I think it's just, for me, it goes back to my purpose. Because if I am myself not learning and collecting new information, I can't share it with others. That's what helps me illuminate. There are very few things that give me true peace. But part of that, I would say, is kind of driven by the act of learning. I'm truly the most peaceful when I'm sitting with a book somewhere and kind of filling myself with some new knowledge that I think that might be useful. There is actually something for me entirely comfortable about that process. And I also feel, in a way, kind of productive. Even though you're just sitting there not doing anything, your mind is just running a million miles a minute. And some people would look at that and say, well, your mind is running a million miles a minute. That's not peaceful. There's nothing peaceful about that. But for me, that actually feels peaceful. That actually feels comfortable. Passion's an interesting concept. I myself personally would say I'm actually more passionate around others. And as maybe one of the introverts here at Savage, that's an interesting thing to say because introverts like to be by themselves. But I'm actually most passionate by seeing other people succeed and seeing other people become better versions of themselves. That actually is what makes me feel good. I actually would be perfectly fine if my entire role was just to help others succeed. And that actually gets me excited and gets me up in the morning. When did I realize I had the power to do something meaningful? You know what's interesting is I might have been a weird kid. Let's just get that out there right now. I might have been a weird kid. But I actually would say that in 5th grade, I remember reading a book assignment with the class, and the book was rather strange. It was 5th grade, so it was about a mouse that had to get across a stream, and in the book, the mouse had like a MacGyver collection of parts, like a toothpick and aluminum foil and some other things, and he had to figure out how to build a boat. And I spent the rest of the time of the book trying to figure out the 20 different ways I could combine these parts to create a boat so we could get across the stream. And I was more excited by that than anything else. And I would say for me, 5th grade, that was the time when I realized I like to solve problems and I like to come up with creative ideas. That is my purpose and existence in life. And I found that act of creation more important than any kind of class I'd been sitting in. And that's where it all started, 5th grade. You asked me what is one thing I hate and wished I loved. I truly don't hate anything. And for those of you that know me well, understand why I would say that. But I also am at least aware enough that I'm not good at a lot of things. I'm not good at singing. I suck. I have no moves. You know, there's a lot of things that as you get older, you recognize I'm not good at that, and that's fine. It doesn't mean that I hate it because I realize I'm not good at it. I just recognize that it's a talent that others have, and I'll just focus on areas where I have talent. But I will never hate singing. I love singing. I just don't want to do it myself. I think personally, I am wanting to travel and I'm wanting to like see the world. And there is a piece of me that is somehow too attached to my life that says, I'm not that kind of person that's going to drop everything and just go travel. And maybe that's fear. Maybe if you had to put a word on it, that's fear. So I would probably say personally I would travel more. And then professionally speaking, I try to approach my world without fear. I look at everything and say, yeah, sure, let's try it. What's the worst that can happen? So that's kind of the two ways that I look at fear. But honestly, I don't know. I live my life with few regrets, so I don't worry about it so much. I do have one piece of advice. I would say that if I was talking to anyone, whether personally or professionally, it would be to definitely stay true to yourself. Spend some time thinking about what you love and what you don't love. And sometimes that can help shape where you should be spending your time. I think that time is a very special resource that we have. We only have one chance at this world, so you better do something you love. One of my dreams for a life fulfilled is to win the lottery and give it all away. And that is still one of my dreams. So I would say for me, my life wouldn't change very much if I had unlimited resources, because I would do my darndest to make sure that I gave it away as fast as I got it. It's a good way to live and say, if I'm lucky enough to be one of those people that has unlimited resources, let me find that gift and give it back.